Welcome to the Skate Like You podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Mark, Skate Like You podcast, skatelikeyou.com. I am here with Herbie Lawley. How's it going, man?
Going good. Real good.
Good, man. I'm glad to have you, man. We've been trying to make this happen for a little while, but we got it figured out. I've been ready to talk to you for a minute, man.
Yeah, we playing tag back and forth.
A little bit. But everything good is worth waiting for. And I think this is not going to be any different. So, interesting. Now, first thing I noticed when you came up on here is to get the 850 Skate Crew shirt. So now, how you were in that thing basically from when it established, or no?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're like one of the OGs, one of the original members. Who were like the first people that made up the 850 Skate Crew?
Well, I'll give you a quick rundown on how this started.
Sure.
I've been skating with Dusty Tudor. Been skating with him for a long time. I've known Dusty since he was about 8 years old. He was just one of the kids that came to the rink. He introduced me to Logan, and it's funny because I went to high school with Logan's dad.
Oh,
we graduated high school together. So, so that made another connection there between me and Logan.
Yeah.
And then we were at the rink one night and we saw Rachel out there on the floor skating around by herself. And we're like, man, that girl is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not afraid to talk to anybody, dude. I'll go right up. My kids will tell you I can make friends everywhere. I went right up to her. I said, hey, my name's Herbie. I said, just wanted to say we like the way you skate and maybe you should come skate with us sometimes. And so that kind of started our thing.
Mm-hmm.
And our first travel together as a group, we went to Tallahassee one weekend. And at that point, we decided, you know what? That was fun. Let's become an official group. And then I think Rachel's the one that came up with the 850 Skate Crew name. And she started making shirts for us. And it's like one thing after another, man. Rachel takes good care of this group. I'm telling you, she is so supportive and she does everything, dude. She's great for this group. But yeah, that's basically how it started.
Yeah. And I'm sure, because I had Rachel on here a little while ago, and she wasn't shy about talking about how much it meant for her to be a part of this thing with you guys. So like you introducing yourself, you kind of extending your hand to her. I mean, I'm sure you probably, I don't know if you guys have talked about it or not, but I'm sure you realize like it meant a lot to her. This thing that she does. Yeah, man. I mean, she flat out just said like when I was talking to her that she feels like this thing saved her life,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, skating has been it for me for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like I started skating in 1977 and I didn't look at it that way then, but as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how bad a day I've had.
Mm-hmm.
I get on the floor and good music, good friends, and get out there and do some skating. And man, it's just like it all melts away. I mean, it's a great stress reliever. Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite things to do for sure.
Absolutely. So you said you started. I'm sorry. What was that?
And I said, and meeting these people is what made it worthwhile.
Mm.
Yeah. Because I'll skate by myself, but it's not as much fun.
No, definitely not. So, but you said 77. That was when you started.
Yes. Yeah. January of 1977.
You got it down to the month.
I remember everything about it, dude.
Write it down.
We moved here from the Philippines in January of 77.
From the Philippines?
My dad was there. My dad was Air Force. We spent 6.5 years in the Philippines.
Okay.
We move here and get into the school system. And my brother comes home from school one day and he said, hey, there's a skate rink around the corner from the house. He said, I'm going skating Friday night. Well, I was riding motorcycles at the time and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I was 15 years old. I don't know anything about skating. And he comes home that night and he goes, dude, he says, you've got to go skating tomorrow night. I was like, why? He says, the rink is full of beautiful girls. Okay, well, I like beautiful girls. So,
yeah.
Okay. I said, I'll come up there. So our parents drove us up there and dropped us off. And the rest is history. I've been skating ever since.
Was there a lot of beautiful girls?
Oh, my God, yeah, dude. Panama City, Florida is full of them.
Yeah,
it was awesome, man. Yeah, it was funny because I couldn't skate very well. never been on skates.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my brother Kerry used to have those little, you remember the little steel skates you basically screw to your bottom of your tennis shoes?
Yeah.
Kerry had some of those original skates when we lived in Miami before we went to the Philippines. So he
Okay.
had a little bit of experience. I had none.
Mm.
But I knew that once I got out on that floor, something about it just felt right. And I knew I wanted to be a better skater because I'm watching some of these kids on the floor and I'm like, wow, these guys are pretty good.
Yeah.
And most of them at the time were my age or my brother Kerry's age. And so, yeah, it took me about maybe a month and a half, 2 months to save up enough money to buy my own first pair of skates.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the rest is history. I've been on skates ever since. And I missed skating 2 years out of my life. In 2009, I broke my back snowboarding and was paralyzed.
Oh, okay. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. All right.
Yeah. So that's the only time I've ever missed skating. And then when I was married, the first time, my wife, when she got pregnant with our boys, we kind of backed off from skating a little bit then because we didn't want her out there skating when she was pregnant.
Mm.
She was prone to falling. We used to call her Princess Falling Rock.
That's a good call then.
Yeah. So we did Boy Scouts for a lot of years up in Atlanta, and that was her nickname on the trail was Princess Falling Rock. And then my youngest son, his name was Tumbleweed because same thing, he was always falling down the trail. So,
man, so you mentioned something interesting though, because you'd said, like a lot of us, from the first time you got on skates, even though obviously none of us are that good when we first put them on, but there was something that felt right for you. You really enjoyed it, but there's this thing though too, because like not that I really try and think about it a lot, but every once in a while I wonder about this, because I know that of all, because everyone, the cool thing about skating is everybody at some point has like a skating memory, even if like they only did it once or twice, right? They just remember going to the rink or something. But there's this thing that happens for some of us, right? For the people that stick around, and you mentioned about, not only did you enjoy it, but you saw these other people that were good, like they had been doing it for a while. They were good at it, and you were like, oh man, I want to do that. And the reason that it clicks with me is because I don't know what it is about, like, because that's the same way. I was the same way watching my brother skate, watching him skate with the people that he skated with. Like, there's this rink, it's about 35 minutes away. It's called Overlook, and it's not even really it's the most beautiful like facility ever. It's got these massive arching ceilings, and it's gorgeous, but it's a municipal facility. It's basically like it's a place where they do skating sometimes. It's not like a rink, right?
right.
But there's this thing that they do a couple, little special skates or whatever. But at one point, every night, every Friday and Saturday, they clear the floor for like just the advanced skaters. They call it like an advanced shuffle skate, right? And, I know that you've seen this a bunch at a rink, but like, so now you have a bunch of people that, they're just kind of there, just skating. They do it once in a while. Maybe they've never done it, whatever. But they all stand there and they just watch. They watch. They're entertained by watching skaters that know what they're doing, right?
Right.
But there are like there's a limited number of us that watch it and be like, oh, I want to do that. Like, I want to do that, because like the vast majority of the people that, like, I went to this thing last night and it was exactly what I was just saying was happening. And I know that if there's somebody, at max, there's probably one person that watched that is like, oh, I want to do that. What do you think it is about like our personalities, that people that like not just enjoy watching it, but like say, oh, I want to do that. Do you have any kind of thoughts on that at all? Or is it just a personal thing?
I don't know. I think it's kind of a personal thing. But that being said, when I was younger and I started skating, I didn't want to dance. I didn't like going to school
right.
dances.
Yeah.
I didn't like to dance at the prom. I just felt uncomfortable. It was not where I wanted to be. Now you put a pair of skates on my feet, and I'm gonna get out there and tear it up.
It's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah, it's a totally different thing. I'll give you a good example. Our 40th class reunion, because that's how old I am. We just had our 50th. Uh, we just had our 40th few years back, and of course they got a dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I hate dancing. I don't want to dance. I say that now. I wouldn't mind learning to dance like two-step or something now, but I didn't want to dance then. So I brought my skates to the class reunion, and just so happens my ex-wife was there, and she is a hardcore skater.
Okay.
She's been her and I've been skate her, we've been her and I've been skating together since 1977.
Okay.
Long before we got married. We didn't get married until 85. Uh, and then we were together the whole time we were together, 27 years. We skated together.
Mm.
You know, we skated every weekend. We took the kids, went skating. But yeah, I went to the dance floor and put my skates on. And of course, she went out the car, got her skates and put them on. You know, so we're skating around on the dance floor because that's what we'd rather do.
Right.
You know, oh man, I feel so uncomfortable on a dance floor, dude. It's ridiculous.
So,
And I don't know why.
well,
You know?
so is it that, is it that like without skates, you don't, do you feel like you don't have a sense of rhythm?
No,
Okay.
I just feel uncomfortable dancing, and I don't know why. I've been that way my whole life because I think I have great rhythm. You
Okay.
know?
Because there are people I know that I swear, man, like without skates, they couldn't snap their fingers to a beat. You know what I mean? Like but then they put skates on, and they're like some of the funkiest people I ever seen. Right? So there's a weird thing that happens for some people. I think too, like for depending upon how you came up as a guy, it somehow, even though roller skating had its own stigma when I was a kid. Right. It was just a little bit more acceptable, like to say I'm going skating than I'm going to dance class. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that though. So, okay. So now you said you like had just these brief intervals of not skating, which is, a lot of times for most people I talk to, myself included, I stopped for a long time and then got back into it. So like did you work at a rink growing up or?
I did.
You did?
Silver Circle East, which is now Skater's Choice over there in the Callaway Parker area.
Okay.
That rink was built in 1976, and I went to work for them almost immediately when I could get a ride to the rink at the time, because I didn't start driving until December of that same year. December 77, I got my driver's license.
Okay.
And then I worked at the rink Friday nights, Saturday nights. I worked there on Sundays. And then sometimes I'd work the Thursday night school skates.
Okay.
And, but yeah, I DJ'd, floor guard, whatever they needed me to do. It's funny, I did everything but the concession stand. So one place they didn't put me. They put me everywhere else but the concession stand.
Was there a reason for that?
No.
No? Okay.
They had enough employees. I guess they just had enough employees to run the concession stand.
Gotcha.
No, I like being up in the booth. I like being a DJ.
Yeah.
Of course, back then it was all albums and 45s.
Yeah.
This is even before the cassette tape really was a big thing. Of course, we did have a reel-to-reel, which was popular back in the 60s and 70s. But even then, trying to mix that stuff and go flow from one to the next was absolutely ridiculous back in the day. So
in 77, late 70s or whatever, and where you're at in that area of Florida, what is like the popular music to play at the rink? Like what is the stuff you're hearing on the regular during that time?
Oh, we did a lot of, Casey and the Sunshine Band, and somebody was talking the other day about the different styles of skating. We called it disco skating all through the 70s, and then in the 80s it became boogie shuffling, and then it just became boogie shuffle, and it eventually just became shuffling around here is what we called it. And we had our own little unique moves and steps we did. But yeah, most of the music was disco style, anything with rhythm, unless we were going fast. If we were doing like Jailbreak or speed skating, we listen to Foghat or Kiss or there's no telling, something with high energy rock and roll, and we fly around the rink at 100 miles an hour until somebody crashed and burned, and then they'd call it and we'd move on. We'd go back to regular skating again. So
yeah, because freestyle's not around then, right? So like
no, not really. No,
rock makes perfect sense, you know. Okay, so Now you worked there. How many years did you work there? When did you stop working there? I guess.
Well, the owners moved to Ohio.
Okay.
And in the process, the owner put his brother in the rink, and his brother came in and basically fired all the male workers that worked there and hired nothing but a female crew. So I was there. I guess I was there about 4 years, maybe.
So he was a marketing genius, is what?
Yeah, he thought he was. Now, and don't get me wrong, man. I love that guy to death because he was always good to me and my family. But he didn't want to be there. He was forced into taking that rink, and that's the last place he wanted to be.
Oh.
His family has owned rinks for years. His grandparents owned rinks. His parents owned rinks. You know, and they bought rinks. They originally from Ohio. They moved down here to Panama City and opened a rink. And it was so popular, they built a second rink, closed the first rink, and then opened another rink. So they had two rinks in town. We had Silver Circle East and Silver Circle West.
Okay.
And we would skate between the two places most of the time. I mean, we literally were the Callaway crew, and then there was the downtown crew skating out of Silver Circle West. And it wasn't like a rivalry, but it was kind of, you know. We'd go to their rink and invade their turf. They'd come to ours and invade our turf once in a while. It really wasn't a problem. We weren't fighting or anything like that. Just, you know, just a show of power sometimes. That's all.
And the styles very contrasting. Did you guys could you basically just look at someone and just know how they skated, which one of those crews they would have been in, or?
Not really. Those guys
No?
skated pretty much like we did. They were pretty similar to what we did. They had a couple different moves than we did. I got a couple moves I got to practice on that I want to bring back. But yeah, but I could definitely tell when somebody was from out of town, came to our rink, or when we went to another rink, they'd be like, "Oh, you must be from Florida," You know, like we went to Dothan a lot at the time. We'd go to Atlanta a couple times and skate when we were younger, and that was pretty much the existence. I did speed skating. I played roller hockey. I mean, I was still playing roller hockey at 42.
So I want to talk about that for a second. Now, when you say roller hockey, what are you what are you referring to when you say roller hockey?
Well, we had a puck and regular hockey sticks, and we had goalies and gear. And
so have you ever seen the international style roller hockey, on quads with that curved stick?
No, can't say that I have.
Yeah, so it's a major international sport. I was introduced to it because there was the team, the Maine Bulldogs. I grew up between Southern Maine and Massachusetts, back and forth with my mom and my dad's. But my home rink was this place in Southern Maine, and way up Maine, up in Livermore Falls, they had this roller hockey team, but it's international rule roller hockey. And the guy that owned my rink, he knew this guy that owned this rink up here that coached this team. And he had said, "Hey, I got this kid down here. He plays ice hockey and he's fast as hell on quads. You should come take a look." And I was like 3 years younger than every other kid on this team. But the reason I ask is I'm trying to find somebody that had played international sport roller hockey. Cause man, let me tell you, dude, it's like they use it's a small bowling ball. Okay. And it's one of the most vicious things you could ever see, but it was so much fun. Yeah. I played for the Maine Bulldogs, but not a lot of people. I know that there is an American team, but it's not. Ice hockey is the thing, here, obviously. So anything else is inferior, but so it made me curious when you mentioned that. But now, did your brother stick with skating the way you did?
Actually, both of my brothers stayed skating. They didn't get into it as much as the shuffling stuff that I did.
Okay.
But again, of course, like I said, my wife, soon to be girlfriend, or girlfriend, soon to be wife, was, she was a part of it, and she skated. I wish she still skated now, but she did not want to be a part of it. But she's a really good skater. She started off artistic. She got into shuffling with the rest of us, and but yeah, I mean, we had a group of guys. I think there was a total of 10 guys and maybe 4 or 5 girls. And we would all get out there and shuffle together every Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, whenever we showed up to the rink. we had this core group of people, kind of like we do now. But yeah, most of them, they don't skate anymore. In fact, I'm the only one still out of the original group that still skates. From now, this is from now, like I said, this is from 1982, 83. I'm the only one that still skates. Now my brother Kerry can't. He was in a he got hit by head on by a drunk driver a long time ago in his car and was almost killed. And so he's trying to get back on skates. He's not. I don't know that he'll ever be able to shuffle again, but he is put on skates and rolling around. And then Michael just got. I don't know. They make skates big enough for him. He's 6'4" and about 300 pounds, and he's a professional mixed martial artist. When he's not doing security, internet security for some major companies. So I got him out on the floor. Maybe that might have been 2 or 3 years ago. Darius Johnson, Day Day. You know him yet?
Probably no. I think I'll know. I know if I saw him. You know what I mean?
He's one of the younger kids on our crew. When we met him, he was 15, and basically we told him the 850 skate crew to be on the team. You got to be 16, be able to travel, got to be doing good in school, can't have bad behavior at the skate rink, And so I said it was Darius, Day Day, and Dreadhead T were the first two kids we added to the crew. And then everybody else basically was, everybody else was adults that we were adding to the crew. I mean, we went from having 5 people to, God knows, I think we've got like 40 people now that wear the 850 shirt for us. I may have more than that. I don't know. That you'd have to ask Rachel that one because she knows more about who all is officially on the crew than I do.
Right. Man,
if it wasn't for Rachel, man, I don't know where we'd be right now because she really is the one that organizes and helps all of us keep our, no offense, shit together. But that's a fact.
She's like the mom of the 850.
Oh, she is. There's no doubt about it. She is definitely skate mom. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's cool. So you had mentioned you got into speed skating. When did that happen?
1978. I started speed skating. We tried to put a team together at the rink. Wasn't going very well, but we tried anyway. We get out there and practice, try to do our thing. We tried to get into a couple of events. And we did okay. And then I guess it was about 1983, 82, 83. Some girl came along who was supposed to be some speed coach, and she jumped out there and says, "Let me help you guys out." And so she did. Now, of course, I wasn't that into it. After a couple of races, I just decided I'd rather just be shuffle skating. But I stuck with the speed team because it was good exercise, good practice. I was able to go faster and go longer during the shuffle events because I practiced with the speed team. That's where all my endurance came from. Of course, I don't have that endurance now. Good God, man, I can't keep up with Billy and them guys to save my life, man.
Not many people can, man. Not many people can.
No. I'll get out there and watch, Michelle and Billy and even little Jen with them short little legs she's got, man. Jen with one end. Man, she's tearing it up.
Dude, she is, yeah. And her and I talked about this a lot because, it's just like when you're walking with somebody that has their legs are half the length of yours, right? They got to do twice the work. But she prides herself in it. Like she's telling me about how, she like there's nothing better to her than when she's out there and she's just, hauling ass and she sees some dude twice her size coming up like next to her and, basically like gonna show her up or whatever. Right. But she's like, eventually I'll start seeing it in their face. Like they want to bail. Like they want to be, but their ego won't let them, you know what I mean? And she's like, I'm not letting up, she's like, I want to run this dude into the ground. I think I love it. I think it's hilarious. So, so how many, I'm sorry if you mentioned, but how many years did you stay competing in speed skating?
Yeah, about 3 or 4 actually. And like I said, I didn't do very good. But I didn't enjoy it as much.
Right.
To me, it was more work than it was fun.
Okay.
It was way more work than fun, and I'm not about rules, and
Yeah.
I'm a rule breaker, man. That's just the way I am.
So and I want to ask this before I forget because one of the people that I was talking to was Brandon. Do you know Brandon Nix?
I do. Yeah.
Incredible. Like one of my like top, like he's like always in the list of people that I think of where I just love watching people skate. Like he's right up there. Right.
Yes.
But, he and I were talking, and he was telling me about how he works on this road crew now, right? Heavy equipment operator, just out there just doing real work, right? Like, and I had asked him. The reason it makes me think of this is because you're a mechanic, right? You're in a garage, but it hit me like I said, Brandon, I said, because he had just started with this job not that long ago. And I said, so was there a point where like all these heavy equipment operators, all these dudes, like these guys, like they find out that you roller skate? Is that like a thing? Because it's just look, I worked in an office, and I remember the day that people found, like the dudes in my office found out, and they were like, you hear Vash on roller skates? You know what I mean? Which is like a whole thing to explain, right? But like,
Right.
so for you as like a mechanic in a garage, you know what I mean? Is like, are people surprised to hear that or find out about
All
that?
the,
Yeah.
all the time. All the time. Especially when they find out I used to race motorcycles.
Oh,
Stuff, man. If it's dumb or dangerous, at some point in time, I've been involved in. If it involved blood, broken bones, yes. You know, my kids grew up that way. We were all high adventure kids. We just didn't. I mean, when I was growing up in Miami and in the Philippines, man, we were always out exploring, doing stuff we probably shouldn't have been doing. But it's
right.
just we're not stay-at-home kids.
Yeah.
We never were stay-at-home kids. And my kids, I've raised my kids to be not stay-at-home kids. And my son is raising his kids to be not stay-at-home kids. Now, that's not to say they don't stay at home and stuff, but they get out and experience they just got back from 8 days in Norway, if that tells you, you
Wow.
know. Yeah. So, I mean, he makes sure that they're out and about, you
And
know.
what ages are these kids?
My granddaughter is Abigail is 17. Ava, I think, is 12, maybe 13. And then my grandson Lachlan, he is 10. And I could be wrong. And they're gonna hit me for that. And then I have a 2-year-old granddaughter that lives here at the house. I have two boys
Okay.
and a daughter. And I said the daughter, she's the stepdaughter, but she's more like me than she is her mom. So I say that's my daughter straight up. But yeah, we have a 2-year-old running around the house, which is a lot of fun.
Wow.
So,
Well, and the reason I asked about the ages, though, is just and and that's a range too. But I mean, what an awesome opportunity it is for kids, even of all of those ages, to like be in Norway. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
it's gonna pay off in a big way. I mean,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And that's we were the same way growing up, man. We took our kids places,
yeah.
and my son told the kids this year, he's like, look, here's the deal. We can do Christmas or we can do a trip. And they're like,
Okay.
oh, we're doing a trip,
Huh.
so they did the trip.
No kidding.
So, yeah.
So, one thing I never asked somebody, and because it just hit me. You've skating since '77, pretty much nonstop, and I think this is probably the reason I've never asked anyone this, because most people that I talk to that started skating, most people I talk to, they just stop for a period of time in
Right.
their adulthood. You never did.
Now,
Was there an era of skating that you moved through that like you would like, for you like, oh, that was the time, that was when I loved it the most, it was this style of music or this time frame? Is there a particular era that stands out to you more than others?
late '70s, early '80s, will always be my favorite. That and what we're doing now,
Okay.
because now we've grown this family.
Mhm.
The first event we went to was in Atlanta, and we literally like 50 or 60 little groups of 5 to 10 people. There were a couple groups that were larger than that, and there were some people that were just there by themselves. And
Yeah.
we've turned this into one huge family, but it's
Mhm.
because of people like Rachel and Jen and Lacey and Juicy and
Mhm.
and Billy and Tammy. It's like, man, they're just, it gives me chill bumps to talk about these people because I
Yeah.
love them that much, man. They're so much fun to be around, and they really have made this skating experience, especially for me, that much better. Because, like I
Yeah.
said, I love skating, and I'll go by myself. But man, it's so much more fun when you go with people you like, and
Oh
especially
yeah.
go to a rink that plays good music. Man, I like to get out there and throw it, and I'll throw down until I drop. You know, I
Yeah.
have literally skated till I have literally fallen out on the floor. You know, and I don't like to do that because at my age, bouncing off the floor doesn't feel as good as it used to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and it takes me a lot longer to recover. But I just, you know, it's the people, man, and the music, and I mean, DJ Mayhem, DJ Silver, DJ, all those guys, man, they just
Mhm.
they make it worthwhile. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely agree. I know that as when I was younger and I skated from the time it's funny is I don't know if you ever heard me mention this on the podcast, but I don't remember learning. My older brother skated for like he had been skating for a while, and then my older sister skated, and I just was kind of brought into it super young, right? And so for me, it was kind of like it's kind of the same as like I don't as not being able to remember how to like I don't remember learning how to walk, right? It's the same
right?
thing, but like you know, but I loved it, you know, as a kid and as a teenager. I absolutely loved it. It was my absolute favorite thing to do. It was my passion, but I love it differently. I might even say I love it more now, but it's just for way different reasons. And everything that you're talking about, it's about the people that I surround myself with. It's about these connections that I've made. But aside from how you experience it differently now, what was it about that late 70s, early 80s thing that you enjoyed most or more than these other eras? What did it for you?
When it was the music, I'll tell you, it was the music was the first thing, but it was the people we were skating with and the things we were doing. But we had some even back then, man, we had some really cool moves that we were doing. Some probably not as sophisticated as some of the stuff we're doing now, but I mean, just the stuff we were doing, and we were doing it as groups back then. Of course, you know, we never even thought about traveling and going skating, other than we went to Dothan a few times and we went to Atlanta a couple times. But it wasn't like we're doing now, where we're traveling all over God's green earth,
Right.
having a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the people, man. I mean, they were all good friends from school. You know, we hung out afterwards at the skate rink, same thing like we're doing now. You know,
Yeah.
we get together, we go to dinner, we go out afterwards. You know, it was the same thing we're doing now that we did back then. And I'll tell you, since you brought this up, probably the I don't know late '90s to the mid 2000s in there. Skating wasn't as much fun for me because I didn't have the
Hmm.
people on the floor. Now that being said, we were skating at Silver Circle or not Silver Circle, Roswell Roller Rink. It's no longer in business. It's owned by a family called the Blairs. Jim Blair, his son Jimmy, uh, Miss Blair, Linda Blair. They're just great people. They're one of those families that the minute you met them, you just knew that they were good people, and that's who you wanted to be around. And he had probably had one of the best operating rinks in Atlanta for the longest time. And that we started skating there when my son Matthew was maybe 2 or 3, and we skated there until they closed the doors on the place.
Hmm.
And yeah, my son grew up at the rink, and then when our other son came along 5 years later, he was at the rink. I mean, we were at the rink. We had normal jobs Monday through Friday, but we were at the rink every night that we could be there with our
Hmm.
kids. I mean, Matthew, my son, I remember him running around the rink like he owned the place. I mean, they just everybody there took care of him, and he's like he had like one big giant babysitting family. It was
Nice.
awesome, you know. But he doesn't get into the skating like his mom and I did.
Hmm.
He skates, he's good at it, but he never got into it like we did. He got into other things, which is cool. You know, we let kids try everything they wanted. You know, if he came home and said, I want to do this, hey, I want to do this, you know, okay, cool. Well, let's go try it. And we're not the
Yeah.
parents that would take our kids out and just say, okay, have at it. We'll see you in a little while. No, no, we're going to be participants in whatever it is you're doing. You know, same thing when he said he wanted to join Scouts. He wanted to join Cub Scouts. Well, okay, great. My wife at the time, Lorna, she became the scout master of the Cub Scout pack. I became the den leader because it was at that time Matthew was old enough to be Weeblos, and it was a lot of hands-on project stuff. So I took that over, and then she stayed with the Cub pack until Clifton got in, and Clifton went through, and then we all graduated all the boys over to Boy Scouts, and I became an assistant scoutmaster with the Scouts, and I was with them for almost 18 years.
Hmm.
You know, as a assistant scoutmaster. But you can tell the kids will tell you, man, every time we went somewhere, they want to ride with me. They want to ride my Suburban. Because they knew whatever we were doing, I was going to have fun. You know,
Right.
so you tell the kids all the time. Look, I said, at the end of the day, I'm the biggest kid here. I said, but that being said, I also have to be the responsible adult.
Mm.
I did tell your parents I'd bring you home in one piece. I didn't say they might be broken pieces, but you're coming home in one piece.
Yeah.
So,
man,
yeah.
man, I really, I identify with what you're saying about, like, for you, it was that late 90s to early or mid 2000s kind of where it wasn't it wasn't the same for you. And you had mentioned basically just because the, I guess like the people, the connections weren't there,
Right. Yeah.
like you were, and I remember, so like when I started skating again, it just, you know, I just, it's funny you mentioned about, your brother being 300 pounds. And I remember, cause I literally like was like 300 pounds, right? Like, desk jockey traveling, for work and on planes and behind desks and eating on the road all the time. And I remember like with my work, one time everybody decided they wanted to like go to a rink. Everyone just decided, oh, we should all get together and do like a rink outing. And I'm like, oh yeah, that would be cool. But I hadn't done it in forever. And I tell you what, man, it sucked so bad because like first that amount of, I was the skinniest kid ever. Like my family was always like, it was a concern how thin I was. Right. So I was not, my frame is not built for 300 pounds at all. Right. So, and it just sucks so much when I go and it hurts. It hurts to weigh that much. And for me, it did at least, right? And try and
Right.
skate. And I remember thinking, man, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do this again. But, like you might know, I had some health stuff, whatever. And then, but, and I was able to see some people online and one person in particular, and just kind of really kind of motivated me to try this thing again. And so when I decided I was going to do it, I was enjoying it. I immediately was like, oh man, like, it felt better. But I spent a while trying to find something. And I can't even tell you exactly what I was looking for. I just knew the places I was going in the beginning and the people that it just wasn't, there was something missing for me. And I traveled, man. 2.5 hours this way, 3 hours that way. I was just, and it was falling in with the right people, man. And what's crazy is I think for someone like me that was gone for so long, because you had mentioned like Juicy and Lacey and all these people. But so for someone like me that stepped away for so long, like there's two kind of catalysts that, and I just know that this is the same experience for a lot of people, but there's two catalysts that kind of get us, thinking about coming back or trying to jump back in. And first is the social media thing, right? We see people online. It's like, oh crap, I'm going to go do that. And so that's that thing. For me, that person was Lacey, right? But then you go and there's this other thing. And I think it's what you were to Rachel by you going over and extending your hand at this, because she was coming back into this thing, right? And for me, it was OG Smooth. It was Ed, right? This dude like that I have nothing in common with, but he went out of his way to be like, hey man, like, he just was like, you skate really well. I surprised I never saw you, shook my hand. Hey, we're going to this event in a couple weeks. Right. And he just put himself out there to me and I'd been going for months and I hadn't had that experience yet. So like, there's these two, like, and I hear this from a lot of people that like Rob McGarrigle's one. And the reason you mentioned, because you mentioned Juicy, and he'll tell you there was what he saw online. And then there was him at the rink when he actually went. But, it's not, sometimes it's kind of awkward, like it looks like everyone else is in this club and you're not in it. But it was her that came over and like extended her hand, and invited him in. And so I don't know. I think it's just such a super, I don't think people realize what it means. Like when someone comes over and because, you know, we think like, oh, we're all adults, you know, whatever, it's go wherever. And you know, but for me, and I know I'm not the only one, I kind of felt like a kid at a new school on the playground, you know, because everybody seemed like they knew each other and I didn't. So it's so important. And it just keeps hitting me because you talk like I talk to Rachel and about how much it means to her to be involved in this 850 thing. But you going and introducing yourself, man. Has she ever said that? Has she ever talked to you about that?
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I just, like I said, I'm that guy. I'm going to go out and
Yeah.
talk to people. I don't have that problem. I will walk up to I've walked up to some really amazing people in my lifetime. The owner of Home Depot, Arthur Blank, and the owner of the Falcons. I met him. He was at the dealership one day, and I just walked right up to him, and started talking to him like we'd known each other for years. You know, there was a Playboy Playmate at the dealership. She had her car in there in the shop, and I actually had her on a calendar in the nude. And I walked right up to her, and I'll never forget it. I went up to her and I said, "Hey, are you Katie Cantrell?" And she goes, "Yeah, I am." She goes, "Can I get your autograph?" And I flipped that calendar open, and there she signed it. But I'm like I said, I'm that guy. I don't have a problem talking to people. I don't care who you are, where you're from. If you're skating, we should be friends. You know, you know. Now, granted, there's a couple people that I've tried to be friends with over the years that just are full of drama. And we don't do drama in my household, bro. It just
man.
don't happen. I don't have but two choices there, and that's to walk away or we're going to fight, one of the two. And I don't have a problem with either one. I'll let you make that decision because I'm not afraid to swing at somebody. Never been. I don't care how big you are, how small you are. It's just that's my family. We're Irish and we like to fight. So my little brother is a professional mixed martial artist, and he knows more things about martial arts than I probably will ever learn. We did judo and some jujitsu when we were younger, mostly judo. I did some taekwondo later on life. But yeah, my brother's the ultimate weapon, and we don't mess with him.
Is he an active fighter?
Oh yeah, even at his age, he's 50. Well, see, I'm 63, so he's 58, and he's still active. He doesn't fight. They won't allow him to fight in the ring, but he still trains every day like he's a madman. I mean, he's got like 32-inch thighs. My waist is the 32. He has 32-inch thighs, and when he kicks the bag, it sounds like a thunderclap.
Oh my
I've seen him
God.
kick the bag so hard he broke the chains.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've seen him kick people in the leg and break their legs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, but you know, he's been training. Well, see, he went into Army right out of high school, and he's been training. I mean, hard. We were doing martial arts as kids, but he really took it a step further. He met a guy who was the world champion Muay Thai kickboxer and trained with that guy for years. He used to train with guys like Forrest Griffin. Oh my God, who was the other kid that used to sleep on his couch? I can't remember, but they're all world famous fighters. You know, and my little brother used to train with these guys like they were next door neighbors. You know, they trained all the time. So yeah, he's somebody we won't mess with.
Yeah, good guy to have around.
He's a great guy to have around. I had somebody hit me it's funny you said that because I had somebody hit me on my motorcycle one time in Atlanta, and he was in traffic. And the guy comes over on and knocks me off my bike. Now, granted, we weren't going fast or anything, but he knocked me off my bike. Well, I get up, you know, I'm ready to go. I'm pulling my helmet off. I'm just smash this guy's skull in, and from out of nowhere, my little brother comes running up and just smashes this guy in the side of the face and drops him right in the middle of Barrett Parkway in Kennesaw, Georgia. You know, I had no idea, dude. I didn't even know he was back there. He saw that guy hit me, and it was on. So,
yeah. I mean,
we've always been like that as a family.
Yeah. That's a whole other thing. I you know, because I wouldn't consider myself or my brother even really a fighter, but I know for a fact, just from our own experience, that if there was ever a moment where, it's not even a question. My brother would be there at the drop of a dime. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is, and it should be. It should be.
And so, I don't fight it. I don't fight at his level, so I'm glad I have him in my corner.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you know, and that's a thing, dude. Like, people, especially like when, like, because there was the thing in it's like the early 2000s where like MMA really started kind of blowing up, like
Yeah.
like, because even like, you had like the Tito years, but then like it was like the Chuck Liddell thing
Yeah.
when it really started getting mainstream. And, so many, it's funny too, because there's a generation of kids now that like, because I remember watching like the original UFCs, right? Where it was like the Kung Fu guy versus the sumo guy.
Right.
And now MMA itself is a sport. It's not like these, like, it's like that. So kids come into it, they don't have that perception of it. They like, people get into the sport now, and it's because it used to be about like, oh, is this guy a grappler, or is he just a striker, or is he this, or is he that, right? And now it's like this, it's this like kind of honed sport, right? My point is that there are a lot of bad dudes walking around, bad women too. You know what I mean? That people don't realize they're like literally professional. Like, you say professional fighter, I think that term doesn't register with people. It's like, no, like the way someone's a professional basketball player, this is what he beats people up for a living.
And
I
enjoys it.
Yeah.
He gets a kick out of it, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And like, but I don't, there's too many of those people walking around to really kind of just, you can't do.
It's really surprising, because I'll tell you, I'll give you a good example. The drummer from my wife's band.
Okay.
If you met him, you'd have no idea.
No clue,
That
right?
he is like the ultimate badass.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just so mild, and he's just so fun to be around. He's super calm. The man, don't ever make him mad. I mean, literally, this dude could tear you apart with one hand and not even break a sweat doing it. But to look at him and to see him, you'd be like, this guy, Ben the drummer, he doesn't look like a whole lot. Oh, I can promise you, this dude is something else in a bag of tricks, man. He is something else.
Yeah, and it's that unassuming person, because they don't have to carry themselves any type of way. You know what I mean? Like, they don't. Yeah, man. Shoo. So okay, so like, you're when did like the event thing start happening for you? Like, what was the first event you went? Or I know you told me which one it was.
The first event was the first USA Shuffle event in Atlanta.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Now the first, it was the first USA event.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now, when I was talking to Billy, he was saying that event has been going on for a long, long time, but it's just different now.
It is. It has been going on for a long, long time. But the problem was, they weren't really advertising it for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now, I mean, the first event we went to, we had people coming from all over the country. We knew nothing about it down here. So, I didn't find out then until we went to that first event that it had been going on for a while.
Okay.
Because nobody ever knew anything about it. We would have been going a long time ago. We did our only traveling we went to Dothan to skate every once in a while, and we used to go to Tallahassee a lot.
Okay.
But the Tallahassee thing kind of dropped out because they started playing mostly JB Jam music and just stuff we couldn't shuffle to. Plus, the crowd there doesn't want shuffle skaters. They just wanted JB Jam stuff, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, man. But I don't know. I think at some point in time, I felt like our group wasn't welcome there anymore, and we quit going because they changed DJs, they changed everything about it, and so we kind of quit going. But that's Rachel. Rachel, that was her home rink. Where we were going, and everybody there knew her, and I mean, it was great. But again, we don't go. We haven't been there in I don't know. It's been a while. Been a long time.
So that first USA event for you, what year was that?
What, 21?
21. Okay.
So
So
I've been 21.
So you went to that and you were like, I'm hooked. I want to do events.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I went to every event I could go to that year. But again, I had a job where I'd been there 10 years, and I had all kinds of vacation time, and I could pretty much do whatever I wanted out there as long as I knew my bases were covered at work. I could pretty much go and do anything. The new job's gonna be a little different. Basically, what I'm doing now is I'm taking over the owner of the shop. I'm going to be taking his responsibilities over.
Okay.
That's what we're working towards, for me to get in there and do what he does
Okay.
and do what been doing it for the last 15, 16 years, is just running shops. I
Yeah.
don't mind getting out there and turning wrenches. I can. I've been doing that
Yeah.
this whole week because we've had guys out and stuff like that. But, I'd rather get in there and manage.
Yeah. So, I the other thing I really like asking people that, especially for someone that's been in it this long and stayed in it, you were present for like that transition that happened. Because look, when I skated as a kid, there was no cell phone on the floor. No one was recording anything, right?
Nope.
So I came back. When I came back into it, it was just the standard. It was just that's what everyone did. So, but you were skating through, like, you watched that unfold. Do you remember kind of seeing that? Did you have like a feeling about it? Did you think, oh, this is good for this? Or did you think, hey, what are these people doing?
I,
Or did it make you? Yeah.
I wish we'd have filmed what we were doing when we were younger, back in the 70s and 80s. I wish we had that on videotape, because some of the stuff we were doing back then was absolutely amazing. Some of the moves we
Mm,
made, some of the things we were doing. I mean, it's just, and the memories. I wish we had the memories.
right.
One of the girls that we skated with for years and years and years, she worked at the rink. She just passed away this week, and she's 9 years younger than me, and she
Wow.
passed away this week. But she grew up at that rink just like we did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
Mm,
wish we had those memories of the stuff we did when we were at that point in time. Now, I'll tell you, the first time I used a video camera to record anything, I had this big old giant VHS camera that I recorded a show we did at Roswell Roller Rink. We did this big old skate production.
okay.
Uh, Nancy Carter was uh, she was in charge of all the artistic skating that was going on at that rink. They had a hockey team, they had a speed team, they had an artistic team, and she was in charge of the artistic team. So she took the artistic team and some of the speed skaters, and she put this show together. So I showed up with my camera. I wish I could find the tape, and shot the video the whole night. My wife was a part of it at the time because she was an artistic skater, and that's the first time that I ever used the camera at the rink to record anything. And I wish I'd have kept that camera going for all the sessions we ever went to, with the kids, without the kids.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I wish we had on tape for the memories,
Yeah.
just because of the people that aren't here with us anymore. Just
Mm,
to be able to go back and look at the stuff we were doing. And yeah, it's I wish we'd have been doing it a long time ago. I think the video part of this is probably one of the best things ever, because there's a
mm,
lot of memories we'll get to put down. And it's like they said on the internet's forever.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So be careful what you say and do.
Yeah. And not to mention, the one is that, and I know that you probably are very well aware of this, being in it for as long as you have consistently, is that skating has always been very cyclical in its popularity, right? Like
Correct.
it come in and out, like 10-year spans. A lot of times, I think would be kind of the average. But I think that the social media age, one, has extended that cycle, and it it presents it to people that, especially, look, how many people do you know got back into skating as an adult as a result of what they saw on social media? You know what I mean? Like, it's so important. It really, really is. At least that's my opinion on it.
Oh no, I agree. Because I've had a bunch of people reach out to me. When I started the 850 Skate Crew page, and then I started my own Bad Granddad page. Uh, I had people reaching out to me. Wow, I didn't know you
Mm,
guys were still skating.
mm.
When did you start? I'm like, well, I started in 1977. I just
Yeah.
never quit. A
Yeah.
lot of I know 1,000 people that skated when I did as a kid that don't skate anymore. And out of those 1,000 people, I guarantee there's probably been at least 100 of those people between Atlanta and here that got back on skates.
Mm,
So I think the social media aspect of this thing has been very important. And I'll tell you something, the only reason we started the 850 Skate Crew to begin with was, one, we knew we were going to have fun doing it, but we wanted to help promote roller skating. We want to
mm-hmm,
bring roller skating back to what it used to be. We
mm,
want to help that not be so, like you said, cyclical. Just, we want it to be more constant.
mm,
And I think with the social media thing, it's going to help.
mm,
I hope that it doesn't die back down again. I hope it keeps growing. That's my
mm,
is my hope, and that's our goal. I mean, Rachel's is the first one to say it. She goes, "We need to be help promote skating," and I'm like, "We all agreed. We're right. We need to do this. We need to help bring this back to where it was." You know, she
When
feels
you,
about it like I do. I mean, this is just where we were meant to be.
yeah.
And Logan and Dusty and I mean, these guys, this for us, that's just what helped put it all together.
W-
And I don't know, man. I don't know where I'd be without social media. I mean, I got 95,000 followers on TikTok, which I wasn't planning on doing,
Phew.
you know, but I was all over a skating video. It was me and Rachel skating, and it was Casey and the Sunshine Band song. That was the background of the video originally, but the video, the music portion of it was so in and out. I just overdubbed it with the original song and matched it beat for beat. And when I built the video, and then I posted that video, and I posted Monday night at midnight because we shoot pool on Mondays and Thursday nights.
Okay.
So Monday night at midnight, I post that video. I get up the next morning, I look at it, it's like 300 views, 400 views maybe, which is about normal, you know.
Yeah.
Anything else about it? My brother calls me at lunchtime. He says, "Dude, have you seen your video?" I'm like, "No." He said, "You got to look at it." I go at lunchtime. It said 18,000 views. I'm like, "Oh my god, what in the world?"
Right.
And I'm thinking this is not even one of my better videos. I think I've got
Oh
way
yeah.
better videos than this one. But man, this one is
It's yeah.
climbing the charts. By dinner time, it had 120,000 views, and by midnight that night, it had like 280,000 views.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was just crazy. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't playing. Dude, I'm just doing this for fun. You
Mm-hmm.
know. Now, granted, somebody said something about, "Oh, you're just doing it for the money." Well, you know
Yeah.
what? I'll
Like
tell you.
they.
I'll
Yeah.
give you a good example. The last live video feed I did was in Texas, and I was online for an hour on TikTok doing TikTok live. I made $1.66 in that hour. So if I keep doing it, eventually I might retire by the time I'm 220 years
I
old.
know. People have no idea. People have no
Nah, it's
idea.
not about the money, dude. It's
Yeah.
just I'm having a good time, and I want people to have these memories. Like I said, when you're dead and gone, you don't have anything. There's nothing there left of you
Mm-hmm.
except the memories. And if I've got the internet, our memories will always be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
When you say you do this because to to get skating back to where it used to be. What does that mean to you?
To where everybody's going and no rinks are closing. That's the thing that hurts my feelings the most is hearing about these rinks that are having to close up because they
Yeah.
don't have any business. You know, I've Jeff Groban out there in Texas. I love him to death, and I know everybody has nothing but nice things to say about him.
Yep.
To watch what we did the first year we went there, because I missed the second year because I got COVID. But the first year we went there the day that they had the lessons
Mm-hmm.
was not like it was this year.
Okay.
This year at lessons, we had a lot more people show up for lessons, and it
Yeah.
was a wider range of ages. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's funny because the woman who was getting on the floor with her husband, I guess he was going to be her coach at that moment in time. Uh, I kind of took over. He was having trouble, and I skated up to him and I grabbed her other hand. And I'm like, I was like, "Come on, I'm gonna help you out with this." And I took her to the back end of the rink, and we worked on some stuff and told her some things to do. And her and I became instant friends.
Mm.
We were talking the other day on TikTok. I just checked in on her to see how she was doing and said, "Hey, are you still skating?" She goes, "Well, I fell at the rink last night and I hurt." So she was I have to
Ooh.
take a couple of weeks off according to my doctor. I said, "Well, that's fine. Take the time off." She goes, "But don't worry." She goes, "I'm not quitting." She goes, "I
Mm.
had way too much fun with you and your group." She goes, "I
Mm.
definitely want to be a part of it in the future."
Yeah.
But her and I became instant friends just over the little training session that we had. And of course, again, back to Jen with one end out there leading the whole thing. I
Yeah.
mean, it was amazing. We had a
Yeah.
great time. I wish every rink did something like this. Like the 850 skate crew teaches here at our skate rink here in Panama City. You know, the problem with us is because of all of our work schedules, it's hard to get around that. And like with Rachel, her husband, he's a firefighter.
Yep.
So she has to work around his schedule or at least get someone to come in and watch the kids so that she can do these events and stuff. And so her schedule's a lot harder to work with sometimes. But yeah, I mean, she's great at teaching people how to skate. And
Mm.
Dusty, Logan, Walter, Frankie. I don't think you've met Frankie yet. Frankie's another one of the characters in our crew, and we just love him to death. But yeah, I mean, we just got a lot of good people in here that we could share the knowledge we have to help people, bring these younger kids in and teach them skate. And that's the other thing too. When you want to teach kids to skate, I don't want to hear them skate and Mary Had a Little Lamb. No offense. That's what I liked about Texas. They're not skating to Mary Had a Little Lamb and kitty songs and stuff like that. They're skating to jam. They're skating to
Yeah.
shuffle music. You want these kids to get excited about it?
It's got to be
Let us.
cool.
We show them what we do,
Yeah.
and then we teach them how to do it.
Yeah.
That's what gets them excited. These
Yeah.
kids at our rink here, every time we show up, like on adult nights, we all try to get there early because all the kids at that rink want to skate with the 850 skate crew.
Mm-hmm.
They want to grow up to be a part of this crew eventually. And they can't be if we don't show up to these events. So we
Yeah.
go to these events. We go to the adult nights. We go early. We go on Thursday nights. We go on Tuesday nights sometimes. Sometimes we'll go on a Saturday night or a Sunday afternoon session, to help. Like I said, it's just to build this stuff up, man, and keep these rinks rolling. I don't ever want to see a rink shut down. But that being said, it's just a fact of life some are going to, and that's not what we can do about it, but except try to do our part.
Yeah. And one of the things I was talking to Jeff about was, with that lessons thing. I mean, first off, just the fact that having this being the third year and, and he's telling me, it's grown every single year, but, but I was talking about it. I'm like, where this is crazy to think that there are professional speed skaters. There are sponsored skaters here. There's one of the best skate DJs in the country here, and these people get to come and learn in that environment. It's crazy.
Correct, yeah.
That's such an amazing thing that he's providing there. And that a lot of it's not to say that the people that come for lessons, I'm not saying that they don't appreciate it, but that there's probably a certain amount that they don't even really comprehend, like what they're who they're skating with right now. You know what I mean? It's amazing. And it's amazing that everybody, they're willing to do it, right? They're willing to give of their time and their effort. I don't know, man. It's the people that I want to be around, the people I want to surround myself with. But, you had mentioned about, did you say a snowboarding accident? Is that what you said?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so
2009, I actually have the picture from the first night there. We showed up at place called Wolf Laurel. It's up in North Carolina.
Okay.
And I got it. So we go snowboarding typically 3 times a year, but it's 3 weekends in a row. The first weekend I take the church youth group. The following weekend I take the kids from the scout troop. And then the third weekend it's just me and my kids, because typically in that area you have to plan around the snow. You can't go on a snow trip if there's no snow. And we've had to cancel trips and move dates and things like that in the past. But they had just gotten a bunch of snow. And the problem with that area is when you get fresh snow like that, it covers up the ice.
Right.
Because there's a lot of ice up there. So we get down there, take our first picture, and immediately take our boards and we head to the top of the mountain. We're going to coming down to Double Black Diamond. And I fell off a jump. And I don't know if I hit a rock or landed on a pack of ice or whatever it was. All I remember is it didn't really knock me out, but it knocked me senseless enough that I'm laying in the snow. And of course, my kids are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't bounce as well as I used to." Of course, I get up and snowboard down to the bottom of the hill, and I'm in pain. I'm in hurt. Of course, I'm stubborn, hard headed, and you can ask anybody that knows me. I will typically push through bleeding and pain with no problem. But I did. I snowboarded for 2 more days in an incredibly amount of pain. I mean, I was popping ibuprofen and Tylenol like nobody's business. I don't know how I have a liver left at this point from all that. But I mean, I was handfuls of it at a time. It was bad. But by the end of the second day, I was losing the feeling in my left leg from about the knee down. I couldn't feel my ankle anymore. And I knew that was not a good sign. So we packed up and headed home. And by the time I got home, I couldn't use my left leg at all. And by the time I got to the doctor's office, I couldn't use either leg. I
Wow.
cracked 2 vertebrae in my back and crushed 3
Oh.
discs.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got very lucky. I'm very, very blessed to have the doctor that I had, and I'll never forget him as long as I live. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I mean, I know too many people that have had back injuries that are just nothing but horror stories.
Yeah.
You know, I was very lucky. I had the one surgery. He got me back together. And other than on my left foot, sometimes at the end of the day, I can't feel my 2 little toes. And that has affected the way I skate. It has changed some of my moves because I can't feel those toes, so it throws my balance off. But yeah, his name is Dr. Tariq Javed out of Kennestone Hospital, and he is absolutely one of the best doctors on the planet. I highly recommend him to anybody that's got a back problem, especially if you live in the Atlanta area. He is the man. His office, everything about it, the whole. I mean, for as bad as that was, and I mean, I was literally laying on my back for 6 months, couldn't move. And it took me 2 years to recover from that. Yeah, it
2
was rough.
years.
Yeah, it was rough because I'm that guy. I'm always going. I'm always doing riding
Yeah.
motorcycles and doing. I'm always doing something. And for 2 years, I mean, I literally couldn't do anything at all. And that's how I got into the office side of things at work because my company at the time was generous enough to know that, you know, we can't lose him. He has enough skills and knowledge that he can help. So they gave me 2 trainees to work with to help train these guys. And then they kind of gave me like almost like an office job where I worked on the computer most of the day and didn't have to go out and deal with the cars until I was, you know, ready to get back out in the shop. Of course, by then I had figured out that being in the office is where I wanted to be.
Yeah. Well, and so for someone of your personality, right? Get up and go. You know, and that's a long time. So 2 questions. One, were there ever like fears or concerns that you wouldn't be able to skate again? And 2, was there a certain amount of like I don't know, depression or anything like that happened in that period of time for
You
you?
know,
Or
I didn't really have the depression issue. But yeah, the worries were always in the back of my mind until I had my surgery. And I remember laying in there in the operating room. Of course, you know, I'm a card. I like to cut up and joke around. And I told the nurses not to stare at my butt while they're doing surgery. So, and then when I remember coming out of surgery and I'm in the recovery room and the nurse walked up to me to check on me. And she said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "I feel like $1,000,000." She goes, "Really?" She goes, "Well, that's the first time I've heard that coming out of surgery." She goes, "Why do you say you feel like $1,000,000?" I said, "Because I can feel my feet."
Yeah.
And I knew right then that this was going to be a good thing. I didn't know that I was ever going to be able to skate again. But yeah, man, it was a rough little journey right there, you know. And my wife had a similar injury. She fell artistic skating one night and cracked her tailbone so bad that she was paralyzed.
Oh my
Luckily
God.
for her, it only lasted 24 hours.
Like
Heroes
a
came picked her up
stinger,
off. What's that?
like a stinger. Is that what they call it? Like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, she landed square on her tailbone and cracked it. The ambulance came, picked her up, took her to the hospital, and within 24 hours, she was back to just about normal, except that her backside was as black as a car tire, and she couldn't sit on it for nearly 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh.
Oh, I had to drive her to work, dude. She had to lay down on her stomach in the front seat of the car while I
Oh.
drove her to work. Oh, it was
Oh.
tough. Yeah, it was tough.
So I got to
So,
ask though.
oh
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry. No, what were you gonna say?
But yeah, man. I've had some injuries skating, but nothing ever that severe.
Yeah. So I got to ask now. You have your surgery, right? You go through the recovery. What was because you know, for someone that just skated for like you just never stopped skating, right? And you have that period where you know you get injured. Do you remember the first time you got back to the rink after that and what
I
that was
do,
like?
yeah.
What was
Yeah,
that
it
like?
was awkward because, like I said, I couldn't feel the toes in my little foot, and that threw my balance off. And so now I'm having to. It's basically I had to relearn to shuffle. You
Mm,
know, yeah, I could roll around on the floor, but you could tell, but watching it wasn't the same. You
mm,
know, and I'm out there 10, 12, 15, 20 laps in the end of the night. I'm like, man, it's just don't. I had to sit down, take a break, and try to figure out what I was doing wrong, and it didn't dawn on me at the time that it's because I couldn't feel those two little toes that had thrown my
Yeah.
balance off.
Yeah.
It's gotten better over time. I can, like right now, I can feel my toes, but sometimes at the end of a long, long day, I can't feel those toes sometimes. And it's
Yeah.
just, and he told me there might be some permanent damage, but he said for me, I should make a 98% recovery, and he was right. So, but yeah, it was tough. And I'll tell you the reason that what got me back into skating. On Thursday, the day before the Friday we went snowboarding, I had just picked up my brand new skates.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a brand new pair of skates from
Oh.
I Southeastern Skate Supply. I was good friends with David. Of course, you can't buy from them directly. You have to buy through the rink. So I bought through the
Right.
rink down here in Panama City, but David let me come down there and pick them up. Well, I picked them up on Thursday nights, and our plans were we're going snowboarding Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday the rink was open. I'm going skating Monday night. So for 2 years, I needed to use the skates.
I was gonna say. So you're staring at brand new skates for 2
Yeah,
years.
1,500
Oh.
bucks. 1,500
Oh.
bucks for a pair of skates, and I can't skate on them.
Oh. God. Man, that reminds me though, because there's something I want to ask you earlier. That and just for this particular era though, like because you mentioned about late '70s, early '80s, that was like your favorite kind of era. Back in the day, what setup were you on in that time frame? Do you remember like what your
Oh,
setup
all right.
was?
So my first pair of skates was Rydell 265Bs with the white stripes on the side.
Yep. Yep.
Had XK4 plates with the twisted jump bar.
Okay.
I had Hugger Fanjet wheels with Fafner bearings. That was
Okay.
my first setup.
Oh,
I
that's
skated on those until 1984. And then in 1984, I bought the 595 Kangaroo leather boots with the laser plates. Again, another set of jumbo fan jets because was my favorite wheel back in the day. And again, Fafner bearings. And I skated on those until 2009 when I got the other setup.
right. The ones that just had to sit for a couple of
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
now the setup I'm on now, which is that same setup from 2009, it's the 595 boot, which is
I
my
love them.
favorite boot.
Same here.
It is a roll line driver plate. That was the most expensive part of this skate was the plate.
Mm.
And then I've got originally I had another set of fan jets with bone ceramic bearings. I've since ditched the fan jets because I wore them out and I didn't want to regroove them. I went with anabolics this time. I've got anabolics wheels and anabolics bearings. I got the canary yellow wheels because they glow in the dark.
Hmm.
And I figured if I get Alzheimer's, y'all will be able to at least find me on the floor and help me get off the floor.
So put a bell on Herbie.
Yeah.
Yo,
Where's that old guy at? Oh, there he is. I see his wheels.
So hey, the ceramics worth
Yeah.
it? Worth it? In your
Okay.
opinion?
Yes and no.
Okay.
If you like going incredibly, incredibly fast, I mean, absolutely. I mean, when I'm wearing the ceramics, I roll over people. I have to
So
be real careful.
you feel a significant difference.
Definitely. Yeah. I
Okay.
literally have to drag my skates into corners to keep from running people over because they roll that much better. Now, that being said, they cannot take the abuse if you're
Right.
doing a bunch of jumps and things. The
Right.
ceramics just don't do well with that. But you want to go fast? Heck yeah, dude. I'm a hardcore believer in the ceramic bearings if you want to go fast.
Mm.
I wore a pair of ceramic bearings outside one time, and by the end of the day, they were done.
Oh,
You know,
really?
oh yeah, the outside pavement when you got a bunch of
Oh,
crack and
yeah.
crevices and
Yeah.
stuff, it just
Yeah.
it beats the bearings out of them. So yeah, ceramics, yeah, sure. If you want to go fast, they're great. But if you all around dependability, I'm just going to stick with some high end steel bearings and leave it at
Yeah.
that because they're way more dependable and they cover more surfaces. I'm in the
Yeah.
automotive business, dude. I want stuff that's going to last. I'm not going to put some cheap, junky part on your
Oh,
car.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'll tell you this. This has always been my theory, and you can look at my truck and tell this. It's all about the go, not about the show.
Mm.
My truck has to be dependable. It's got to do a job. We've got a John Deere tractor to pull. We've got a boat. I've got a horse trailer that I may need to move. It's got to work. And if it's pretty, great. But if it can't perform, that's a problem. So my truck, I can promise you, my truck performs long before it does anything else. And it's not ugly by any means. You
Right.
know, my truck's not beat up. It's got a couple little spots in it, but I mean, it's in good shape.
But it's
You
a
know, but
sleeper.
it's got to be
No,
dependable.
no one sees it coming though either, probably, right?
Oh no, I can promise you that. My truck has no limits on it whatsoever. I
Yeah.
took all the limits out of that thing. It'll go 160 miles an hour.
That's awesome. So you know what's the question keeps popping in my head. Where did the skate name come from? Where did Bad Granddad come from?
Well, it's funny because originally Logan and Rachel were going to call me Pop Pop.
Okay.
But I get this phone call from my daughter-in-law in Atlanta. She goes, "What in the world are you teaching my kids, Bad Granddad?" And I thought, oh my God. I said, that's my skate name.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
No,
man.
what I did was I taught my 5-year-old granddaughter, who's 17 now, how to steal noses. You ever seen that?
Yep.
You
Oh
grab
yeah.
the
Yep.
nose, you use your thumb like it's a
Yep.
nose.
Yep.
Well, she did that to my 2-year-old granddaughter and said she buried it in the front yard. And my 2-year-old granddaughter was mortified,
Right.
thought she
Right.
was going to run around with a hole in her face the rest of her life. And that's when I got the phone call.
Well,
So
now wait a minute. This reminds me of something else. Okay. So we're in Texas. Everybody, this is an interesting thing. Okay. We're in Texas. And I think might have been last night, but I see Noah, or Rink Rat Noah. Shout out Noah. I see him. I'm like, hey Noah, quick, I got to get a picture with you, man. And he goes and he says to me, he's actually holding cash in his hand, right? And he says, he goes, yeah, sure. And he goes, I won't charge you. I'll let you have this one for free. Now, can you explain to people why Noah would actually say something like this, right? Where he would have to feel it necessary to tell me that I don't have to pay for this picture. Because I heard, well, you tell the people why.
oh yeah, I told him. I said, look, I said you're gonna be real famous here pretty soon. Not that you're not famous now. I said, but you're gonna be real famous the more this goes. I said, you got to start telling people you want to get a picture. It's gonna be $1. And he ran with it. I told Chase the same thing. I said, you guys, I said, name and likeness, baby. Give me some money.
So what now? What does Diane say to you?
Oh, she just laughed. She thought it was funny. She goes, what are you teaching my kid? I said, well, I'm a bad granddad. I got to teach these kids something. So,
dude, I lost it, man. At first, it was the funniest thing ever, right? Because he's so confident about it. He's so matter of fact about it.
oh yeah,
like he was really doing me a favor, man.
yeah, he's tough, man.
And then I found out it came from you. And I lost it. Oh, dude, that was like the funniest thing that happened all weekend, man. I had such a good time in Texas.
Oh my God, dude. I love Texas, man. Everywhere we go, there's good people to meet. I don't care if it's the restaurant or the gas station we've always had a good experience in Texas. You know?
Well, Jeff sets it like he has the town anticipating skaters showing up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the city commerce made a shout out to the 850 skate crew for being there. It's just nuts, man. It's super cool.
Yeah, they had that old theater with the marquee. It's like had the thing. It said "Welcome Skaters." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was nuts. Matter of fact, we had driven from PA to Atlanta. We're gonna meet with Rob, hop in with Rob, drive overnight, right?
Right.
So we the original plan was we were going to crash at a rest stop maybe for a little while, and that would kind of put us in Texas early afternoon, but enough time to get checked in, rest, all that kind of stuff. And man, and the thing is that so my family is really cool, like when it comes when my birthday comes around or Christmas, they get me hotel gift cards because they know I go to these skate events, right? Which is awesome. It's the best thing ever, right? But so I had Marriott gift cards, so I couldn't stay at the Elegante or whatever. but we realized like, cause now we didn't stop to rest or sleep. So we're making it in like super early in the morning. And I'm like, oh man, like, we're going to get there at like 7:38. There's no way I'm going to be like, I can't just, I've been up for 30 hours straight. I can't just, you know what I mean? I can't just like, cause I said, I will literally like set up camp in the lobby if they don't let me in that room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we call ahead, man. And but yeah, the first thing is like, so, are you guys coming for the skate thing? So yeah. Oh yeah. Don't worry about it. We'll get you in. And I was like,
wow.
Damn, that's Jeff, dude. That's Jeff. Guaranteed, and that wasn't even like the host hotel for us. You know what I mean? So man, he's doing something right. He really is. Everything before I ever met him, there was this one constant thing I always heard about Jeff, which was Jeff cares about skaters. That's what everybody said.
There's no doubt about it. He treats everybody like we're his family. I mean, I don't care if he's never met you before, never seen you before. He treats everybody like you're a part of his family.
Yeah.
It's a great experience.
Who was I just talking to where I said, how is it that he manages to literally make every single person like that walks into there feel like they're like his VIP guest? Yep. Like he literally makes everybody like he cares like that you have the best possible experience in that place. And it's not fake. You know what I mean? No. It's yeah, man. I've met so many cool people. Of all these events, what's your favorite one to go to? Do you have one?
Yeah, it's the Texas event.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Texas event for sure. And I like the Tampa Orlando event too. That's a fun one too. But the Texas event is one of my favorites.
The Tampa Orlando, which
that's the one. That's the one that's Labor Day. Is it Labor Day?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't been to Labor Day. I've been to the Memorial Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love Skate Reflections, dude. Oh,
yeah,
I love that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a great place, man.
Oh.
The first year we were there, Mayhem was in the booth DJing, and we kept skating by the booth, and we kept smelling smoke. And he had burned up one of the amplifiers and one of the speakers, dude. The place was going to catch on fire.
I didn't think that was this kind of smoke that you were. Never mind.
Oh no, yeah, yeah, not either. But no, man, he was catching the place on fire. He had a crank, man. We were jumping, man. It was awesome. Yeah.
So, am I going to see you in Georgia for the next USA event here coming up?
That's
weeks?
My plan. I might not get there till Saturday night though. We're having to work it out at work because since I'm the new guy on the totem pole, And of course, I wasn't planning on losing my job. But my goal is to go to all the events, or as many as I can. Sickness and health, and worrying about family members around the household. I do what I got to do to take care of the family. But yeah, I'm going to as many events as I can. Like I said, worst case scenario, I'll be there Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But my goal is to be there. My goal is to leave Thursday, be there Friday, Saturday, and then I have to come home on Sunday, or I do Saturday, Sunday, and come home on Monday.
Yeah. I haven't done the Sunday yet. I really want to do it just because you might have heard me talking about this, but I love the Friday and the Saturday thing. I love, because it's different. It's not like that, like, up here, like where it's just a racetrack kind of thing, and right. I enjoy doing it, but it was funny because so when I went and then I got home and I saw all this video from Sunday where and it's not like, it's just, that's what happens on the Sunday, right? In a 3-day event, people have to start traveling, right? So like the crowd lightens up, the floor opens up. And then, but what you had now was this opportunity for people because the floor opened up to really kind of get loose. I'm watching these videos of Brandon Nix going off and all these people going, I'm like, God, man, I can't believe I'm not there for this right now. So I was like, I'm not missing that next one at all.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw Brandon skate, I'm like, where in the world does that guy get those moves from, dude? I mean, he is just amazing. It kills me to watch him skate, man. I was like, dang.
And that to me, and this isn't anything new or this isn't news to anyone that even listens to this, half the time, but that is always what fires me up is when I see somebody that I cannot mistake for anyone else. doing their thing. Like that's just yeah, man. He's incredible. Have you ever skated with or seen Aaron Bardwell?
Probably, but I can't place a
So
face with it.
so he's like Wisconsin, but crazy, like elite speed skater. But dude, that guy can get down like, and he's real lengthy, like Brandon. Just go search for him on social. Aaron
I have to
Bardwell.
go check it out.
Oh my god, dude! First time I saw him was Castle, the flying over the Castle event a couple years ago, and I was like, God, whoa, oh my god, like same thing, same like not it's not like him and Brandon skate. It's not that they skate the same, but like that high level elite and very unique thing. You know what I mean? That just is undeniable, unmistakable. So impressive. Shout out Aaron Bardwell. Shout out Brandon Nix. You guys are crazy. Anyway, man. So like we're approaching like an hour 25, man. Is there anything that like you wanted to get to or anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't mentioned yet?
I do. I got something I've had a bone to pick with a couple of skate rinks here, not here in Panama City necessarily, but some of the rinks we hit at. We talked about this before. Is they want us to sign these waivers going into these rinks about skating at your own, at your own risk.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. My problem I have is we go to a couple rinks that they have us sign these waivers for us to skate at our own risk, but they haven't done their part to eliminate some of these risks.
And what are you referring to with
Well,
those
like
risks?
Out of control skaters, kids skating the wrong direction, adults skating the wrong direction, people standing in the middle of the floor and not actually in the middle of the floor, but standing in the middle of the skate lane where your faster skaters are at, or you got 2 or 3 people holding hands and skating along the wall.
Oh yes.
That is a rink owner, operator, manager, and DJ's job to control that, along with the skate guards. The skate guard and the DJ have most of the control of the floor. And that's the way I've always looked at it. That's the way I was taught. When I DJ, I worked with my skate guards to keep control of the floor. If the floor was getting out of hand, we'd slow the music down. If the floor needed to be speeded up because everybody's getting off the floor or something, we'd throw some good tunes down. But they have to work together. We went to a rink one time where one of the skate guards ran into one of our people and knocked him into the wall because the skate guard, instead of doing his job, was out there playing around chasing other kids. That to me is uncalled for. That rink had, and it's like that. Pretty much every time we go there, they're kind of out of control. They don't have anybody really watching the floor per se. They got a DJ and he's doing his thing, but he doesn't have anybody really out there watching the floor. I mean, we had whistles. We blow the whistle, make sure everybody's skating in the right direction. Little kids turn around and get going the wrong way because they want to catch up to their friend who's coming up behind them. So they just turn around and go against the floor of traffic.
I used to get benched.
We didn't allow that.
Yeah, I used to
Standing
get benched
on the wall.
Yeah,
we don't allow that. 3 people wide in the shuffle lane. We didn't allow that. We called people out and said, please move over. And if that didn't work, well, then we became a little more aggressive about moving, and it's not because we don't want you to have fun. We don't want you to get hurt. And I don't want to get hurt. I'm 63 years old, bro. I don't like getting hurt. I've been hurt enough times in skate rink that I don't want anymore. Now, that being said, I still get knocked down from time to time. Or, somebody asked me the other day, they said, how many times do you fall when you skate? I said, I never fall. I've never fallen on my own in my entire life. I usually get knocked down by someone else. And that's a fact. You usually get knocked down. But a lot of it, like I will tell you, I've had a couple close calls because I'll skate till my legs start giving out. And then I got to get off the floor. I just don't have Jen's or Billy's or Michelle's stamina. I just don't have it. And I don't know if it's because I'm 63 or it's because I don't skate as much as they do either. I mean, I'm lucky if I get to skate here once a week. And sometimes it's been 3 weeks since we've skated. That's why I want to go tonight. I got to try to stay on top of this thing and keep skating as much as I can. I'm trying to find a venue out here where we can skate outdoors. Something that's not going to tear our skates up because skates are expensive. And I refuse to buy cheap skates. So
But you just raised a real, because I never thought about that, man. For the number of waivers, that I've signed versus what then is taking place or not taking place inside that
Right.
rink. Like they like it's kind of like, hey man, like we're making a deal here, like, okay, like I'm assuming the risk, but like, there's another half of this that you got to be kind of
Yeah.
accountable for, man.
You
I
had to,
never
you
thought,
had to
you
do
got a
your
good
part.
point. Yeah, you got a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah. I've been preaching this for years, man, because I got hurt at a rink one night, uh, because they weren't controlling the floor and some guy was going the wrong direction, doing his little whatever kind of skating he want to call it, and he
Mhm.
wasn't looking. And of course, I'm looking to see what's in front of me, and all of a sudden he comes from out of nowhere, because we're all going this way, and
Yeah,
he's going the opposite way, runs into me, knocks me down. Well, luckily I didn't get hurt bad, but man, I'll tell you what, when I got up, I was not happy,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, and
And
that's
but yeah, they need to
that.
do their part too. I don't mind doing my part, and I'm not going to hold them responsible unless they didn't do their part.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that, like I was mentioning that one rink earlier, it's not really a rink, right? It's a municipal facility that happens to have
Right.
skating once in a while. Sadly, it's one of the most beautiful. I'll send you a couple pictures. It's one of the most beautiful floors and places you'll ever see. But the thing is it's it's not run by anyone that's ever run a rink or owned a rink, right?
Right.
And you can you can see the inexperience in that whole element, right? Like they started having a night where they were going to do a freestyle night, right? And that drew a lot of skaters, like from around, right? Like decent
Right.
skaters. And that night there were a ton of kids in that place. It took me 15, 20 minutes to convince them that you have to tell these kids to move inside. They're gonna
Right.
get killed. And
Right.
and like, but that's what I mean. Like they don't even they have no idea about what it, like a rink, like running a rink, right? To them, it's like, no, they need the wall. They need the wall. It's like, no, dude, no. Like that's not how this. It's not how this works. And
No.
yes, it's a lot. Yeah, man, you are so right on the money with that. I can't believe I
Yeah, I
never
mean,
thought
and
of it.
it's a safety issue for everyone out on the floor, not just the kids.
Of
Because the
course.
girl, the little kid knocked me down in Fort Walton. She knocked me down. She was skating right next to me, and we're going into the curve. And instead of her following the curve, she just turns and cuts 90 degrees right into me and knocks me
Hmm.
down.
Yep.
Now, luckily, neither one of us got hurt. I mean, I landed on my knee and banged my knee up a little bit, but I was still able to skate. But still, it's because no one had control of the floor,
Yep.
and they're trying. And that's the other thing. It's not just controlling the floor. You have to teach these kids. Look,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is the way we need to be skating because that way you don't get hurt, someone else doesn't get hurt.
Yep.
When you explain to people that hey, you could get hurt doing it that way, eventually they are going to take that into their head and say, "Oh yeah, you know what? You're probably right. Let's go this
Hmm.
way instead."
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
have to teach them. So we did that for years at our rink. When the minute I started skating in Panama City here at Silver Circle East, we're blowing the whistle. We're making sure everybody's going the same direction. We're not playing chase and tag out on the floor in the middle of an all skate. You know, we didn't put up with it. Some of these rinks just let hell break loose and they don't, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Again, I don't like getting hurt at 63, man. It's not my idea of a fun time.
So I gotta ask that. What are your thoughts on skate mates?
Uh I don't like them as far as a teaching a kid how to skate on their own thing,
Mm-hmm.
because it gives them a false sense of security.
Mm-hmm.
I like to incorporate them into lessons when I teach young kids. And
Mm-hmm.
what I have them do is start to skate with the skate mate, and I have them push the skate mate away and skate to it and catch it before they fall over. That's
Gotcha.
my goal. And
Yeah.
eventually they learn, hey, you know what? I can push that skate mate all the way to the other wall down there and go catch up to it.
Yep.
And eventually they're not using it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when
But
you
I
watch a
think it gives
kid,
them
oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
I think it gives them a false sense of security to use it all the time.
Well, yeah, because when you watch them use it, they're just leaning on it. Like they're not
Exactly.
learning the mechanics of skating at
Not
all.
not one bit. And they're
They're
falling, they're hitting their faces and you
oh,
know,
that sound. Oh,
oh yeah, dude,
oh.
it's terrible.
I
As
think
I
I
said, my granddaughters too, she just put her skates on for the first time the other day and I skated her up and down the hallway here in the house. And she loved it. the skates are technically too big for her, but she didn't care. Somebody at Nana B bought them for her, and you know, it's one of those things. Eventually, she's going to be on the floor. Right now, we're
Mm-hmm.
working on her balance.
Mm-hmm.
But again, those skate mates, they're great for assisting a kid to learn how to skate, but not to lean on 24/7 when they're on the
Right.
floor.
Yeah,
So
and you said learning, like someone actually teaching them
working
while
with
they're
that kid,
yeah,
teaching them how to skate, not turning them all loose on the floor like a, you know, nothing but bedlam
bumper
and mayhem,
cars.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. And I also think too, like, because yeah, it's kind of like a nerf the world situation where the other thing I like about him is that you know you might have kids that have certain disabilities, right? And that will,
Right.
you know, that you know,
Yep.
so that's cool. But not every kid needs to like, you know what I mean? Like you're a fully capable kid, like let them they, they're not gonna, you know, I can't say they won't break. Maybe they might break,
Right.
but you know, it just is what it is. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that wasn't a thing when I was a kid. I don't think my brother would have let me do it.
No. No, I was 15 years old. I wouldn't have done it anyway. You know, I
Yeah.
muddled my way through learning how to go forward to start with. And then my brother's like, you need to learn to cross over. I said, what do you mean? He says, where you step one foot over the other. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't know what crossover, man. I didn't know anything about
Yeah.
skating. Dude, I skated for probably a year before I learned to backward skate.
Mhm.
And it was only because of this really beautiful girl at skating. Her name was Vicky. And she goes, you need to learn to backward skate. She goes, I want to couple skate with you, but you
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
to backward skate. She goes, because that's what the man does. The man backward skates.
Yeah.
I said, all right. I said, so teach me how to backward skate. So we get out
Yeah.
on the floor. And let's just say she was very nice to look at. She takes her shirt, she goes like this, and she goes, just stare right there. And she goes, I'm gonna help you backward skate. And I said, all right. And that was it. It was on. And
She had her
I've
own skate. Yeah, she had her
been
own skate
backward skating
mates.
ever since.
She was teaching you with her own skate mates.
Yeah. Different kind. The ones I
Right.
like.
Oh
The ones I
man.
like a lot.
It's funny, when it came to learning how to skate backwards for like the first like year, I could only cross over go in opposite direction.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, like I couldn't do it. It was weird, but I'm goofy foot when I skateboard or snowboard too, so I think it has
Right.
something to do with that. But okay, well, anything else, man? Is there anything else you want to throw out there? We're over an hour and a half.
Nah, dude, I just want to say thanks for bringing this out. I don't know what got you started, what made you decide to do this, but I got to tell you, man, it's been well worth it. And I really learned a lot about the other skaters I did skate with that, you know, because we don't always get to talk like this when we're skating.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, we're always out on the floor doing our thing and having a good time. But yeah, it's been great to listen to everybody's stories and the different, you know, ways of coming up in the skating world. And, you know, some of us have been skating since they were little kids. And, you know, like me, I didn't start till I was 15. I mean, I had no idea that I was going to start at 15 and still do it at this point in my life. If you'd have told me that 40 years ago that I'd still be skating at 63, I'd have laughed. You
mm,
know, like people don't skate at my age. They don't skate at 63,
mm.
you know? But yeah, I mean, no, dude, I really appreciate what you do and I appreciate what you bring to the game. And I love watching you skate.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool, man, because you got your own little moves and it's neat, man, to see that, you know, and I
Well,
like that.
I appreciate that, man. I do. Yeah, I'm having a blast doing this, man. I really am. I tell you, you know, and I don't talk about like this aspect of it a lot, but I will tell you that so back when I decided I wanted to do it and Lacey agreed to be the first person, there was like some stuff happening in the social media world and in the skate world where it just was like I just saw all this crap. Like just a lot of just, you know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I'm not taking sides about anything. I'm not talking about anything in particular, but just not good. Just a lot of just negativity kind of thing. And you know, and I don't know, man. I knew that they're like I just was trying to find a way like well, okay, what can I contribute? Because this is I honestly feel like I owe. And look, and I'm not like bearing any cross here. I love doing this. It helps me avoid adult responsibility, right? Like, but I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it. So it's not like I'm, you know, like carrying some burden, you know. But yeah, I kind of felt like, man, because you know how it is, man. People like we see each other online and like we think that we know each other after seeing somebody for 30 seconds in an internet clip. And it's like, no, dude, like I I could just tell. I just felt like I want to know these people. Like I want to know people more. And I just I don't know. And I don't know if in any way it makes a difference. I don't know. I'm having fun doing it. People seem to like it. So yeah.
Right.
Keep rolling.
I enjoy the shows, man. I like watching, like I said, like to learn about all these people and their backgrounds and what got them into skating and stuff like that. It's a super good show, man. I really enjoy it.
Did you see the thing I uploaded yesterday?
Not yet.
Oh, dude. Okay. So I started this thing. You just go. It's only 24 minutes long. It's on YouTube. Actually, it's I put the full episode on Facebook like just before we get on, but it's just a bonus show, and it was inspired by something that happened at this rink the other night, but it's called the segment is called Wood Tax, the Rink Chronicles, and it's just about like I'm basically asking people what is the absolute craziest story that you could tell at the rink, right? And let me know what it is, and I'll have you on, and you can tell. So I had this insane thing, dude. You laugh your ass off. Go watch this thing. It's the best thing I've done by far.
That's funny. I'll just check it out.
Oh, dude,
I'm check it out.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, all right, man. Well, I don't have any other questions for you, man. Thank you so much for doing this, dude. This was great. This is going to be a good one. I could tell.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for inviting me on. Like I said, I really enjoy the show.
Oh, man. Thank you, dude. I can't wait to see you here in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Fun, man.
Yeah, man. I'll see you soon.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye.